just down the street?
Yeah, actually, if you look down, that car is parked across the street. I live right across it, you know, so it's, what, maybe 6 houses down?
And so you were, just kind of walk me through the Wednesday morning.
So it was 7:40, got in the car like every other day, and I was coming, like, this is the way I go to work. And there was a trash truck here, parked in the middle of the road. And I was like, you know, whatever, you know, it's an inconvenience, 7:40 in the morning, I'm gonna be late to work. So anyways, I get here and the truck wasn't going nowhere. So I was like, I'll just wait. And while I'm waiting, I noticed some cars pull up behind me. And
so you were driving this way?
Yeah, yes ma'am.
And then they pulled you over?
Yeah, well, no, I was still here, and exactly right here, off to the side to, you know, have enough space for the truck to pull over. And I'm, you know, looking, you know, forward, and then I see lights, you know, and I'm like, ah, dang, the cops. You know, that's the first, you know, obviously you see red and blues, you know, it's the lights, the cops, I'm sorry. And so I, you know, roll my window down like normal, and, you know, and he walked up, he had it was all brown, you know, the vest and everything, it was all brown. I don't remember exactly what it said on the little patch, because it was a small patch. He says, hey, I need to see your ID. I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, gave him the ID, and I gave him the ID, and when I went back down to put my wallet in my console, he's like, get out of the car, get out. And I'm like, for what? He's like, get out. And I'm like, for what, brother? And he's like, opens the door, he's like, get out.
What was going through your mind at that moment?
I was like, this has to be a prank. Like, this somebody is messing with me, like 100% messing with me. Like, you know, but I couldn't think of anybody that would, you know?
Did they tell you, like, what violation you had committed for them to pull you over?
Nothing. They just said, here's your, where's your ID? And then get out of the car. You know, I'm still kind of disoriented. I just woke up, you know, going to work, and I'm like, man, what's going on, you know? So at that time, he takes me out of the car and walks me over here, and he's like, you have it was a prior, like, I had been in trouble with ICE before. Like, I've had an encounter with them before.
That's what he told you?
Yeah, I've had a prior encounter with ICE. And
have you had a prior encounter?
No, I've never, you know? So I was even more confused then. And so at that point, they slapped handcuffs on me. And, you know, they're like, you know, you have an order for deportation. And I'm like, that's crazy, because I was born here, brother. I was born in College Station, man. There's no way, like, it doesn't make sense. And he's like, no, you know, you're the one we're looking for. And I'm like, okay.
You told him, I was born here, did you tell him I'm a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I was like, bro, I was born here. I was born in College Station, Texas. Like, there's no way, like, what's going on? And they said, no, we're gonna do our investigation, blah, blah, you know, yada, yada. And so put me in the back seat of their car, you know, left my car here, and they took me about a mile that way to a church parking lot. And there they just continued to drill me, like, hey, you know, this is you.
Did they show you who they were looking
so
for?
So they kind of flashed a picture at me. They're like, hey, this is you. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I tell that's me? You know, you're saying it's me, but I don't see it's me. And so we went back and forth probably for like an hour and a half. You know, I kept telling the agent, dude, it's not me. You know, they kind of laughed, and he's like, just because you say it's not you, just because you keep saying it doesn't make it true. And I'm like, yo, it's crazy. You know, like, they asked my social security like maybe 10 different times, you know, and it's like, okay, they're trying to make me maybe slip up or whatever, you know, whatever. So then it gets weird, because I'm like, you know, he's like, what's your birthday again and your social security? And I tell him my birthday and my social security, and then one of the agents goes to his Tahoe, and he comes back and he's like, man, this is crazy. He's like, some guy born January 22nd, 1992 is using the same social security number as you, but he has a very American name. And I'm like, what does that mean, bro? Like, what do you mean? What does that even mean? And so they kind of laughed about it. And, you know, meanwhile, I'm still sitting in the car in handcuffs. And I'm like, dude, these handcuffs hurt, you know? Like, I don't even know why I'm in handcuffs. First of all, you didn't tell me what you pulled me over for. Like, there's no reason I should even be here right now. And they were like, no, this is you. Like, we're 99% sure this is you. And I'm like, no, man, there's no way.
Were you scared at that moment? What were you thinking whenever they're telling you this is you?
I was getting very aggravated. I wasn't so much scared, but more aggravated, you know? And it's like, I was so aggravated because if they're drilling me the way they were, I can't imagine how they're treating people who don't have papers, who don't have the means to defend themselves. It's just, I don't know, man. It was out of this world experience, to say the least. But it was pretty bad.
In your entire life, did you ever think that you were gonna get picked up by ICE?
Never. And like I said, when I told my mom, I called my wife, everybody I called, everybody kind of just blew me off, like, all right, whatever, you know what I'm saying, like, whatever, and then once I showed my wife, my handcuff, my wrists, they were handcuffed, and the agents behind me with the pictures I sent her, she's like, there's no way, like, why, what did you do? Or, my mom, she's like, I was crying, I'm like, bro, it's relax, like, it was, for what reason, I don't know, but now it's like, my mom's all tore up about it. She's like, you gotta be more careful, we can't trust anybody now, you know what I mean? She's like, none of us are safe, and it's scary, putting my mom in that, and then, she don't even live here, and it's just, it was a big thing that's just been sending my family kind of more into the worry side of the cops and everything like that. So it's a horrible experience.
So what finally made them let you go?
I don't know if it was this, but it was 3 of them, and I was like, look guys, let's just make this simple on everybody. I was like, the person you're looking for obviously has tattoos. Everybody has tattoos. So why don't we just make our job easier? Why don't you guys do your job? If he has tattoos, then I'm gonna have those same tattoos, obviously, right? I was like, so let's just do our job. Find the tattoos he has, and if I have them, I'm your guy. If not, obviously, we could have ended this a long time ago. I was like, it's not possible that Harris County can pull my ID and they know exactly who I am in 5-10 minutes. But these guys with, federal agents take hour and a half, almost 2, trying to figure out who I am. It doesn't make sense all around.
Did they say, the guy that they were looking for, did they tell you, hey, he was wanted for this or anything?
All they told me was, you have a deportation order and a prior encounter with ICE. That's all they told me.
So they didn't tell you what he was wanted for?
No. I saw what he was wanted for when Telemundo posted their story. And then that hurt me, because I was like, damn, like, that's making me look like I'm some weirdo, you know what I mean? And that's what really messed me up, is when they released that they're looking for him for all these other things, but they told me it was a deportation order.
So and that's what I was going to ask you. So I did reach out to ICE, and hold on, I was going to read you exactly what they told me. So, what time did he, sorry. I'm trying to, oh, here it is. Okay. So ICE said that they were looking for a violent criminal who had been convicted of multiple child sex offenses and was an immediate threat to public safety. Was this told to you?
No, not once. Not once. I'm telling you, the only thing they said was I have an order for deportation and a prior encounter with ICE. And that's all I was told.
So hearing that, what goes through your mind?
I'm sorry, but it pisses me off, because it's like, you didn't tell me what you were looking for, but all of a sudden, now that I brought it to light that you pulled somebody over that you don't even know who it was, now all of a sudden he has all these other charges. You still haven't posted a picture of the man you're actually looking for, but you say he looks like me. It doesn't make sense, and it's really aggravating. It's a really bad feeling in the stomach,
They go on to say the person has the same first name, middle name, last name, and bears a striking resemblance.
They didn't tell me his name at all. They just said, you're the one we're looking for. Never told me a name. They did ask me a last name, Mireles or something like that. My last name's Ponce. There's 2 letters in between an M and a P, so how can you tell me that was similar? It doesn't, none of it makes sense. It doesn't.
Do you believe what they're saying?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the way they were laughing and joking about it, the DA agent, he was like, no, let's go ahead and take him in. Let's take him in. Let's take him in. Let's take him in. I'm like, dude, for what? He's like, let's take him in and then we'll do fingerprints. Let's take him in and then we'll do fingerprints. And I'm like, for what, dude? Like, I can go home right now. I have my passport. I have my social security. I have my My birth certificate, I have everything at home. Are you sure?
Did you tell them that?
Yeah.
And what did they say?
They're like, are you sure you have them at home? I'm like, what do you, I was like, I wouldn't tell you if I didn't have them, you know? They just kept saying, are you sure you have it? Are you sure you have those things? I was like, all right. And I was like, I don't know. But the way they were drilling me, it was like they were trying for me to admit something that wasn't there. Like it was constant. Like, oh, 5 other people are using this social security number. That's weird. They use the same address as you. Like, there's no way. I was like, I just moved here a year ago, so there's no way they're using the same address. I was like, and we know the people that lived in the house before, so you know, none of it was making sense. Like they were just trying to throw things at me to see where they were going to catch me or if they could catch anything. And it's very disturbing. Like even now, coming out of the house, man, it's like, what's going to happen today? You know, when they came and dropped me back off here, gave me the keys, and they said, shave your beard off so we won't mistake you again. And that was it. And everybody went their own way.
So are you scared?
Not scared, angry. I'm not scared because I don't have anything to fear. You know what I mean? It's just, I want people to know that what's really going on out here, you know? Supposedly they're looking for somebody, but they don't know who it is. You know, why haven't they released a picture of them like, you know, Harris County does when they're looking for somebody? Why won't they release that, you know?
I guess, did it feel like a threat when they said, shave your face or we'll pick you up again?
Yeah. He's like, shave your face so we don't confuse you again. So, what are you doing, you know? Like,
do you think that they'll try to pick you up again?
I hope not. Hope not. You know, their whole thing, they're like, you know, the guy has a car exactly like yours. I'm like, can I see a picture of the car? You know, because, you know, people confuse him all the time. He's like, no. And I'm like, can I see the car? Like, because first, you didn't run my license plates. You could have known who I was from running my license plate. You could have known who I was from running my ID. So, I mean, why did it take for me to get hauled off? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I pretty much felt kidnapped. You know, they just put me in there, said I have a deportation order, put me in handcuffs, and took me to another location. So it's like, am I being kidnapped? I couldn't call my wife, you know, couldn't call, you know, work, nobody. I was just locked up in the back seat.
I was gonna say, in this statement, they said they took him to an alternate location to verify his identity. Immediately upon confirming he was not the target, they took him back to his residence and apologized for the confusion.
No. So when, like I said, after all that went down and I told them to check for tattoos, then that's when everything started to simmer down. And they're like, okay, well, you're not who we're looking for. Put me in the back seat, came and dropped me off, and they just said, you know, we're just doing our job. I'm like, dude, this isn't doing your job. If I had to tell you to look for tattoos since you couldn't identify me, you're not doing your job. You know what I mean? And I strongly feel that way, that why do I have to tell them to look for tattoos if my ID's not working, look for tattoos? You know, I can't erase a tattoo on the fly, and I can't create a tattoo on the fly, so.
Did they apologize?
No, they just said we're doing our job. I don't think that's an apology. I mean, you know.
So now, when you're leaving your house, do you feel like you need to carry your passport? How do you move on from this?
I don't think I need to carry my passport personally, just because I feel like I've already went through this, and if I go through it again, it's ridiculous if I go through it again. You know, but like I said, all my friends, you know, hey man, are you okay? Like, how do you feel? I'm like, leaving my house, it's a little bit of paranoia now. Not so much fear, but it's paranoia. You know, I moved to Houston like 4 years ago. Never had trouble, nothing like this. You know, never been paranoid to leave my house at all until now. And now it's like, what if my wife leaves the house and they do the same thing? You know what I mean? You know, it's just a lot of paranoia and a lot of anger that's just kind of built up.
Had you ever had an encounter with ICE?
Never. Maybe at the border when we came back from Mexico, you know, but hey, you a citizen? Yes, okay. Gone about your way.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to ask you, I guess, it's just, I'm just trying to make sense of all this.
You know, you and me both. Like I said, my wife still thinks it's a joke, you know. My mom, you know, like I said, my mom's all tore up about it. My dad as well, but you know, I'm still trying to process it as well. Like, I can't believe that happened. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just very uncomfortable.
Do you feel like had they been watching you? Do you know?
So I had seen that car around the neighborhood, maybe like 2 or 3 times, because I mean, obviously we live in this small neighborhood. You know what car belongs here and what car doesn't. And I had seen him a few times, but I just don't pay it no mind. One, I'm not doing anything wrong. 2, I don't have nobody to worry about. So I'm just going on about my day. And when I see it, pull me over, and that's what I told them when they had me in cuffs. I'm like, you guys have been watching my house for a couple days, huh? And he was like, well, this isn't the first time I've been there. I was like, I know, because I've seen this car. And I was like, I never would have thought it was an ICE agent. You know what I mean? I just knew it was a different car in the neighborhood. So, and then, I don't know, it's just.
I was going to ask you, do you feel like you were pulled over for being Hispanic?
That's a hard one. But then again, yes, because like I said, they've been in the neighborhood. So obviously I guess they were watching me. I don't know if they were watching exactly me or they were just waiting for something, because like I said, you can't see in the car. There's the car's dark. But once he got my ID, he was like, it's a wrap. Like, let's go.
But in order to get an ID, you need a social, you need a birth certificate. I mean, you need all this.
You do. And that's what I'm saying. There's no way Harris County can pull me up in 15 minutes and ICE can't do it in an hour and a half. It's ridiculous. And then to confuse me with some weirdo out here, that's a direct threat to the community, like, it doesn't make sense. It hurts. It hurts. Deep down, it hurts.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense what they told you and what they're
putting on the news. Yes, ma'am. So it's like I've been telling my wife, like, I just don't feel good these past couple days. My stomach's all messed up, my head, I'm not in the correct headspace,
Scary?
It's different. It's a different feeling. I've never felt like this before. Like I said, I've never had an encounter like this before, to where I'm borderline about to get deported for being me and not being somebody supposedly they're looking for. So it's
And you told them, I'm like, I guess, what did you tell them? I'm born here, I'm a U.S. citizen?
I was like, dude, there's no way I'm born here. I was born in College Station, Texas. I was born and raised in Texas. I was like, I don't know what else to tell you. And they're like, just because you say it doesn't make it true. They're like, oh, okay, well, I guess not. But I was born here, so it's true, But they just weren't having it. Like, they were just ready to get me off.
Did you think at that moment, I'm going to be deported?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. When they had me handcuffed, I was like, oh, geez, I can't even call nobody. I was like, dude, can I call my wife? Can I call my wife? Can I call my wife? They just, ignored me and just went on their way. Same thing with the handcuffs. I'm like, dude, these things are tight. Just kept going on about their business, So like I said, it's not so much for me because I have papers, so I was gonna get let go. Hopefully I was gonna get let go regardless, you know what I mean? But what it is like,
well, whenever he was saying he was gonna take you in,
I was like, I'll be out, because I have papers, I have everything to prove that I was, I'm born here, So it was a little bit of fear, but anger. But I'm saying it's not so much for me. It's more for the community. You know what I mean? The people who, like I said, don't have a way to defend themselves. Man, this isn't right. It's not right. You have to. I mean, I don't know how you search people up, but that's not the way to do it. How do you pull me over? Don't tell me what you pulled me over for. Ask for my ID and pull me out of the car, and then tell me I have a deportation order. I mean, I don't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Do you feel like they're not doing?
No, absolutely not.
Their due diligence?
Absolutely not. I was like, because why does it take so long to ID me, dude? If the person has tattoos, that's the first thing you should do. If the ID's not working, that's the first thing you should do, man.
But your ID's always worked?
Yeah, always worked. I had to get a new ID to buy my house, so it had to be found. It had to be got. Yeah.
Wow. And they didn't. So are you going to start driving around with your passport and stuff like that, or?
I honestly don't think I need to, just because you have to have all the proper documentation to get this. So there's no, I don't know. My parents say I should, but I feel like this should be just enough to prove that I am who I am.